Okay, this is going to be the tutorial on how to use the adjustments panel in Photoshop. So you just want to upload your picture onto Photoshop. So I'm just going to upload this picture here. And now my picture loaded. So what you want to do now is you're going to do, well, the very first thing you're going to use is the cropping tool. So in order to use the cropping tool, you want to go on your toolbar, and if you need to locate your toolbar but don't show up, then click on tools here. I'll add my toolbar, and you're just going to click and drag these corners, and this is going to crop your picture. So it's going to essentially cut these dark areas out of your picture. So one nice thing too about the cropping tool is you have lines that you can apply for rule of thirds, and if you don't have these lines that show up, just want to click on the view on the top and do rule of thirds. But there's a lot of different ones. There's grids, diagonals, but you want to use the rule of thirds. That'll help you out. So maybe I might want to have these guys' legs as part of the rule of thirds, so I'm going to crop my picture. So you just want to double click on it, and it's going to cut part of that image. Okay, so that's going to cut it. Now, if you don't like the changes that you made, you can just do a quick Command Z. That's going to undo your picture, and you can click on it. If you do Command Z again, it's going to redo your mistakes. Okay, so now you want to play around with your adjustments panel, and if this panel doesn't pop up again, it's Windows and adjustments, and this is going to pop up. But this is where you're going to play around with the your brightness and contrast. So you click on brightness and contrast. It's going to be another window that pops up. Oops. And this is going to brighten up your picture. So you want to make sure it's bright enough in your picture where you see the details in your dark areas, but you don't want to make it too bright where it's it's too much light going on. And your contrast is going to pop out your light and dark areas even more. And, the contrast is pretty good in this picture. Brightness I might lower a little bit, but you want to make sure to tweak your drawings, because sometimes your pictures might end up being too dark, and you'll need to brighten it up to see those details. And any changes you make to your adjustments windows, they're going to show up in your layers window too. So the first change I made was your brightness and the contrast. So the next thing you want to play around with is your color balance, or you can play on the hue and saturation. So hue and saturation, this is going to essentially change your colors in your picture. So if you're trying to go for like a really crazy looking effect, this is where you would mess around with that. Or if you want to, you can change your image into black and white too. That's up to you. Usually I don't play around with this panel too much, so let's just say you make like a real big change like this and you don't like it. Okay, you can go on to your layers window and just look for hue and saturation, and just click and drag that onto your trash can to get rid of that. But you do want to play around with the color balance. I think the color balance works well. So the color balance is going to change the colors in your pictures, but it's not going to change it to the point where all your colors change. It's going to change just like some of the tints. So I just play around with this a little bit. Okay, get like a color that you want, and then if this color is a little too strong to use, you can mess around with the opacity too, just to lighten it up a little. And then you want to click on that eyeball just to see the changes that you made. And I slightly like that change, so maybe I want to keep that. Okay, and then your brightness, your color balance, and yeah, those are the main two I want you to play around with. You can use these other ones too. Gradient. You can do some really wacky stuff with Photoshop if you play around with it. It's up to you. I might not want to keep that, but okay. Let me show you one other thing too. The your history window. So you click on Window and History, And if you look on this window here at your histories, this are all the changes that you made in Photoshop. So, if I wanted to go back to the color balance, I can go back to that one color balance I made, or, if I want to go back to my cropping, I can go back to my cropping. But just be wary though, if you make like another change now, all this is going to be gone. So, you can click back down here to go back to where you were. And so that's the tutorial on the adjustments layer, and then the history and the cropping.